Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at a brand new figure which I just got today. This is the Transformers Studio Series Bumblebee movie Deluxe Class Autobot Ratchet. I got this off of Facebook Marketplace and ended up paying like around $18 around there. So yeah, you definitely got a discount on the Deluxe figure. And something else I find interesting, which is the first time I've seen this on a Studio Series figure. That is a plastic window. That is so cool. It makes the figure look so nice in the packaging. And as you can see, the figure is slightly crooked in there. We're going to take a look here at the rest of the box. Again, really nice style. I have here a render of Ratchet, who was only in the movie for like a couple of scenes. And here's a look at the back. Here's another look at the side. Here we have another great render of Ratchet. And again, this part is also covered by a plastic window. That is really cool. As you can see here, it says Cybertron Falls. We have a render of the figure. The vehicle mode, which is apparently some kind of Cybertronian ambulance. Of course, it includes the backdrop. And he also transformed 22 steps, and here's the description. As the Decepticons launch their final assault, Ratchet and the Autobots find themselves outnumbered and flee Cybertron in the escape pods. Okay, very straightforward, very direct. Literally, they just told you the whole Cybertron scene in a nutshell, so yeah, that's good, I guess, for those who did not watch Bumblebee or just forgot. That's a super awesome scene. But now that we took a look at the packaging, let's finally get Ratchet out of the box. Okay, here we have Ratchet out of the packaging, and now I just want to showcase this before I remove him here. Here's how he looks strapped to the box. Here's his weapon, and again, as you can see, the figure looks slightly crooked. Let's remove it here for a moment to showcase the backdrop, that being the War on Cybertron scene in the Bumblebee movie. Of course, the best scene, in my opinion, in the film. You can see some Decepticons. You can see the tower that the Decepticons destroyed, and as an order of Shockwave, you know, the whole destroy the launch pad, let none escape. But now that we took a look at the backdrop, again, there's the Bumblebee movie logo. I think I forgot to mention, he's the Studio Series number 82. And now let's get Ratchet out of the packaging. Oh, and I almost forgot to show the manual. Again, I always forget to show these. But here's the manual, but now, finally, let's take a look at Ratchet. They broke into the front lines! There. I just said Ratchet's only line in the Bumblebee movie. Like, that is it. That is literally the only thing Ratchet says in the entire movie. And we somehow got a Studio Series figure out of it. Now, sure, I understand that the whole concept of the Studio Series, that whatever character can be made, the character only has to be in any of the movies. So in the Michael Bay era films, the Bumblebee movie, Rise of the Beasts, or the original Studio Series 86, and the future Transformers movies will have Studio Series figures. I get it. But it's so cool, and at the same time so weird to see figures based off characters who barely have any screen time. Like, that line I just shouted was basically everything Ratchet said. Like, the only other thing he does in the movie is escape in the escape pods, and that's kind of it. We never see him again. And since he's part of the Transformers who were in the first live-action Michael Bay movie, I imagine that we won't be seeing this version of Ratchet anymore. So yeah, that's very unfortunate. I would really like to see Ratchet again. But let's remove him from this backdrop and take a closer look at the figure. Okay, and here we have Ratchet on his own without the gun or the backdrop. And zooming into the details, first off, impressive head sculpt. I'm really surprised how detailed these Bumblebee movie figures are for characters who, again, are barely in the movie. As you can see there, he has the Autobot logo printed, although in the movie I believe it was black. Interesting how they painted it white here. A really nicely applied white paint. I really hope he doesn't yellow anytime soon. You can see some red highlights. The shape of his head is on point. Get it? On point because of the crest. Okay, that was a bad joke. And here we have, look at the bottom, really nicely nicely designed in general. I really like the design Ratchet had in the Bumblebee movie. And doing a 360-degree look, yeah, he sadly has a bit of hollowness to him. Again, he's a deluxe class, so he's $25, and he's a slightly larger one. So imagine that they had to cut costs somewhere. Like, this entire part of the inside is completely hollow, as you can see here at the head. Let me zoom in. They use this kind of effect called light piping, which is basically that the inside of the head sculpt is made out of transparent plastic. In order, if you shine light through that, it'll look like the figure is actually alive, which I think is really cool. I really like how he looks. And that's kind of it I have to say about this design for Ratchet. And now let's take a look at his articulation. And starting off here with the articulation, he has a ball joint here at the head. So he has a very dynamic range of motion, although I have noticed that on my copy, the joints are kind of loose. He has a bend here, a bend here at the arm, a rotation here, which is slightly limited. Some other movement here, he has a bend here at the elbow, nothing at the wrist. I guess it's because of how they'll have to compress like this, so I kind of get it. He has a waist joint and some really loose legs. Like, I really hope the camera shows how loose those are. But he can kick like so, to a good range. He has knee bend here and some slight pivot here at the foot, mainly because of the transformation. So, same thing on the whole other side overall. A very dynamic deluxe figure. Now, let's take a look at his accessory. Now, for accessories, Ratchet here only has one, that being his blaster. And that's a really nicely done piece. Like, it's all a single piece of plastic, a single color, no paint, but it looks really solid. It does look like the blaster. I think he's Blastify compatible, but I sadly don't have any, so I'm sorry, but there we go. It just fits on his hand like so, and there you go. There's Ratchet armored up, in order to shout that the Decepticons have broken to the front lines. Now, let me just slightly here. Okay. And I forgot to mention that I had to make the lighting on the camera slightly lower because of how the figure is almost completely white. I don't want it to, disappear on the white backdrop. But that's kind of it for the articulation. Let's do some size comparisons. Now, getting into some size comparisons, you'll definitely notice that this is a completely different backdrop to the usual one. This is because I recorded these parts in a different area. I could not place my backdrop, so we're going to do size comparisons here. The transformation will be on the usual backdrop, and the vehicle mode comparisons will also be in this other backdrop. But to start off, here we have the Deluxe Class Bumblebee movie Ratchet next to Bumblebee himself from Rise of the Beasts. And here's Ratchet next to the only other Bumblebee movie figure in my collection, that being the Core Class Shockwave. And here's Ratchet next to a Studio Series 86 Deluxe. In this case, it's the 86 RC. And for an older line, here we have Ratchet next to the Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom Deluxe Class Air Razor. So here's an Autobot compared to a Maximal. And here's Ratchet next to the Core Class Rise of the Beasts RC. Here's also the Core Class Legacy Evolution Dinobot Scar, and I just want to talk quickly about the recent reveals of the Transformers Legacy United line, which I'll probably talk about some other day. And the Core Class Bumblebee. And now comparing Ratchet to a Voyager class figure, here we have him next to the Earthrise / Coronation Studio Series 86 Starscream. And fun fact, recently, just by the time I'm making this video, the Studio Series 86 Voyager Ratchet was released. Honestly, it's not a figure I'm looking for because I already have this version of Ratchet, and I don't really want to have, many variants of the same character. Just want, the main character. Either it's a Bumblebee Moo design, a Rise of the Beasts design, or an 86 design. And finally, the last Transformers comparison. Here we have Ratchet next to the Rise of the Beasts mainline Voyager Optimus Prime. And I think the scale works good enough. Again, this Optimus Prime is already considered really a small Voyager. So I still think the scale works pretty nicely. But now let's do some non-Transformers comparisons. And here's Ratchet next to some Jack Pacific 4-inch Sonic figures, just to give you a better sense of scale. And some Moose Toy Space Jam and New Legacy figures. And finally, some Marvel Legends, in this case Star-Lord and She-Hulk. Oh, and this is another shot that I forgot to add in the Transformers part. A group shot of all the Autobots in my collection. Yes, I know it's not a very large collection. Like all the size comparisons you see with Autobots, I'm not just bringing a few figures to give you a sense of scale, and that's it. I'm basically showing you all of the core, Deluxe, and Voyager Autobots in my collection. So yeah, it's not a very large one, but we can finally add Ratchet. And now that's it for the size comparisons, and now let's get into the transformation again. Now this part will be in the usual backdrop. And now getting into Ratchet's transformation, we're finally back in the usual backdrop, and now to start. First off, we have to fold the hands, which this is an area which I don't like about the figure, that he's very hollow in the arms, but I get it. That's for the transformation, but still, it kind of gives the figure a, at first, cheap look. Now, they have to fold like so, and here at the back, to pull these pieces off, you'll see how they tab in. And this is actually a pretty complex transformation. I think this is the most complex Deluxe figure I've gone through. And this piece will have to lift like so. You can see the cut here for Ratchet's head sculpt. And pry all this part open, you'll see how it all just literally folds up and folds out. And now we have to rotate here. And the feet have to stow away like so. Again, a lot of the hollowness in this figure is because of the transformation. Now, it's a bit complicated, and I suggest to be careful here because in this area, here are some fake wheels, and this side are the actual wheels. So I suggest to be careful because, believe me, multiple times I've accidentally put the fake wheels first, and we have to twist here like so, and I recommend now to pull the real wheels here. They're sadly mushroom pegged, so they won't roll as smoothly as pinned on, but oh well. Now, this entire piece, this part is made out of transparent plastic, so I'd suggest to be careful, especially here, because this has to tab in here. I really hope you heard that click sound. Now, this piece, which originally is part of the head, now has to fold here, and the camera slightly loses focus. Now, pull all of this part down here. And here's what has been to me the most complicated part now. You see this tab, it has to fit here. But I always mistake the part where it tabs in. Just now it worked, and down here there's also another tab. I suggest to be very careful. It has to look like so, because sometimes it's slightly pushed downwards, and it makes it impossible to roll the wheels, and it's a bit complicated, okay? You'll definitely notice how, if you don't do it correctly, the whole assembly starts to pop off, and that's really the issue here. There, it all clicks finally. Now, you just place these panels like so. Yeah, I know, I'm struggling with the camera, but try to align everything. That's the best I can do now. And yeah, I recommend patience, okay? With every Transformer, I recommend patience because the first couple of times it can be practically impossible. But finally, hopefully, there it is. There's Ratchet's vehicle mode. Okay, here we have Ratchet in his vehicle mode. You saw the struggle it went through to get him to this mode, but here it is. And this is a really interesting looking vehicle. This is, I believe, some for a Cybertronian ambulance. This is something I forgot to mention with the Bumblebee movie figures, and it's that since almost all of these characters were just in Cybertron in that amazing opening scene, it means that they never transformed, and since they're in Cybertron, not on Earth, they turn into Cybertronian vehicles. In this case, I'd imagine that Ratchet here is meant to be like some form of Cybertronian ambulance, since Ratchet is always transformed into an ambulance. I think it looks cool. I really like the white and red stripe here. I think it looks nice. I like how compact it is, and you'll see that in the size comparison. Sadly, because of the wheels being mushroom pecked, he doesn't roll as smoothly as, say, the Bumblebee from Rise of the Beasts. But again, it just had to do with kind of joints they use here. As you can see how this part that was originally the chest is now the screen. I guess it would be the windows of the vehicle. Really interesting shape, and you can also attach to the gun here at the top, giving an armorized look, and that looks really cool. Like, I'd imagine the Autobots rolling out on Cybertron with their weapons attached like turrets. It looks really cool. And that's kind of it for Ratchet's vehicle mode, and finally, going back to the other backdrop, the size comparisons in vehicle mode. And for a size comparison, in this case to make things quicker, here's Ratchet in his vehicle mode next to many of the other Transformers from the other size comparisons, and that's kind of it. I'm actually surprised on how compact Ratchet actually is here. Like, seriously, we saw that between the Studio Series 86 RC and Bumblebee, he was the tallest in robot mode, but here he's actually the smallest vehicle. So yeah, pretty interesting the way that he compacts, but that's kind of it for the size comparisons. And finally, getting into the reverse transformation, this one will hopefully be a lot easier. These panels have to flip up like so. And this part, again, to me it's very complicated. I really hope that the paint doesn't fall off because of this. And you'll see that it's a lot about the tabs, it's about the aligning everything. Again, be very careful with this piece, because I don't know why I get the feeling that someday these tabs might break. So be careful. Twist everything here. I kind of like how, even though you saw how complicated to get from robot mode to vehicle mode, it's actually a lot quicker to get from vehicle mode to robot mode. So this is mainly the way I'm going to display him. You can see flip of these real wheels, and here the side there, the fake wheels. And, okay, this is the part where I'm going to struggle here with the camera. Again, it's about aligning everything, because it's going to be a little complicated. It all has to literally compress like so. And this part of the chest has to click here. There we go. As you can see how it's finally taking shape. This panel lines up down here. The arms have to be positioned like so. And again, here are these holes. And these are the slots and the tabs. You have to click, sort of soft click them like so. And let me focus here on the camera. The last thing to do here would be to position the arms, flip out the hands. They'll click as well. This is something I did not do the first time transforming, and I did not click them into place. But, okay, finally, here's Ratchet back in robot mode. And finally, to conclude here with the Transformers Studio Series Bumblebee movie, Deluxe Class Ratchet, it's a really good figure. Now, I want to end the video showing you something I forgot to show in the accessory section, and it's that you can actually put his weapon here at the back. You can see this sort of rectangle with this sort of tab, and it just aligns like so. And so you can have Ratchet carrying his weapon here in the back, and I think that looks really cool. So I'm going to conclude with this image, and overall, in terms of what I think of the figure, it's really solid. Now, I wanted a Ratchet figure in my collection for a while. I was considering getting either this one, the Bumblebee movie Deluxe, or the Studio Series 86 recently released Voyager Ratchet, or even the Core Class Studio Series 86 Ratchet. I wasn't sure which one, but I'm glad I got this one. Like, Okay, I understand that if you're looking for a much more G1 accurate one, the Studio Series 86 one is better. But something I forgot to mention throughout the review, and it's that this figure, this version of Ratchet from the Bumblebee movie, was actually later on reworked into a Bumblebee movie, Ironhide, since in the G1 series, both characters were very similar, and since the series was done on a low budget, I imagine that they need to recycle as much stuff as possible. So that's why Ironhide and Ratchet have very similar designs. And for the Bumblebee movie, they made the same thing. So in a way, you can sort of take this video as a also review for the Studio Series Bumblebee movie Ironhide, since they're both almost the exact same sculpt. The main difference is the paint job and the head sculpt. But apart from that, I really like this figure. To me, the only issue is that he's kind of hollow in some areas, like here the arms. I always position them in a pose like so, because I just think it looks ugly, the gaps around the figure. But apart from that, it's a really well done Deluxe. He's the tallest Deluxe in my collection, but at the same time, he's the most compact vehicle mode. So really cool the way he compacts. And again, everything I said about the vehicle mode for Ratchet could be set for an Ironhide. I don't have any Ironhides in my collection, but overall, it's a really solid figure, and I really love the Bumblebee movie designs. I think they look awesome, but sadly, Ratchet was not in Rise of the Beasts, and I imagine until they clarify if this universe is a prequel to the Babe films or a completely different universe, we probably won't see Ratchet in this design ever again unless they confirm it's a new universe. The Michael Bay movies don't exist in this universe, so, you know, this could be our version Ratchet, or just sell for the Michael Bay era Ratchet. But that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments what you think about this figure, and that's it. Thanks for watching.